Red blood cells, or RBCs, are the most abundant type of cell in the human body. There are roughly 20 to 30 trillion of them circulating in your bloodstream at any given moment. These cells are primarily responsible for transporting oxygen from your lungs to tissues throughout your body and returning carbon dioxide back to the lungs for removal. Without them, your body wouldn't get the oxygen it needs to survive. Now, let's talk about their structure. Red blood cells have a unique, biconcave shape. Imagine a donut without the hole in the middle. This shape increases the surface area, allowing more oxygen to be absorbed and transported. It also makes them flexible, so they can squeeze through even the tiniest capillaries in your body. Another interesting fact: RBCs don't have a nucleus. That's right, no nucleus and no DNA. This allows them to carry more hemoglobin, the protein that binds to oxygen, and gives the cell more room for its main job. But this also means that red blood cells can't repair themselves or replicate, which is why they only live about 120 days before being replaced. Let's talk about how these cells actually do their job. As blood flows through the lungs, red blood cells pick up oxygen, thanks to the hemoglobin inside them. Hemoglobin is a protein that binds to oxygen molecules and releases them when needed by your tissues. This binding is reversible, so RBCs drop off oxygen where it's required and pick up carbon dioxide, which they then carry back to the lungs for exhalation. Think of red blood cells as delivery trucks, picking up oxygen at the lungs and dropping it off at your body's warehouses, like muscles and organs, and then picking up waste like CO2 to take back to the lungs. As mentioned earlier, red blood cells have a short lifespan of about 120 days. After that, they're recycled by the spleen and liver. The iron from hemoglobin is reused to create new red blood cells. But when RBCs are destroyed, their components are broken down into bilirubin and iron. The liver processes the bilirubin and excretes it as bile, which helps digest fats. Meanwhile, the iron gets sent to the bone marrow to help create fresh red blood cells. Now let's finish up with some cool and surprising facts about red blood cells. First, they're not always red. RBCs appear red because of the iron in hemoglobin. However, when oxygen binds to the hemoglobin, it makes the cell bright red. Without oxygen, it turns darker, which is why veins look blue, even though the blood inside is always red. Second, no nucleus, no problem. RBCs don't have a nucleus, but did you know they also don't have mitochondria? This means they rely on anaerobic metabolism. Essentially, they don't use the oxygen they're transporting. Talk about efficient. Third, they're the longest living cells in your blood. Red blood cells live much longer than white blood cells, which only live for a few days. The only exception: platelets, which last about a week. And finally, amazing flexibility. Red blood cells are so flexible they can squeeze through vessels as narrow as 3 micrometers in diameter, far smaller than their 7 to 8 micrometer width. Healthy red blood cells are critical to your body's health. When things go wrong, like in sickle cell anemia, the cells can change shape, becoming sickle-shaped instead of round, which can block blood flow and lead to pain and organ damage. Keeping your red blood cells in good shape is essential for maintaining overall health. That's all for today's deep dive into red blood cells. If you learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more videos like this, and leave a comment down below with any questions.